Hi everyone, welcome to my first official video on this channel, Kids Wear with Reggie. This channel is dedicated to every aspect of fashion designing that has to do with kids wear for both male and female, ranging from native wears, traditional wears, corporate wears, school uniform styles, graduation gown, different cap styles, sultana and lots more, using pattern drafting method, which is the world standard method of clothing construction. So guys, in today's video I will be launching this channel with this video of how to draft a basic bodice block for a male child from 1 to 16 years old. At the end of the day, I will be giving you a bonus of an accurate standard body measurement chart for a male child of 1 to 16 years old as well. If this sounds interesting to you, kindly subscribe to my channel so that you will get regular notifications whenever I upload new videos. Your shares and likes will also be appreciated. My name is Bolaji and I will be your fashion instructor on this channel, Kids Wear with Reggie. These are the measurements needed in drafting a basic bodice block for a male child. The front neck width, the back neck width, the front neck depth, the back neck depth, the armhole depth, the chest circumference, the back waist level, the hip level, the waist circumference, hip circumference, and the shirt length. So in this tutorial, I will be drafting this pattern for a 6-year-old boy. All measurements are taken in inches. The front neck width 2 inches, the front neck depth 2 inches, the back neck width 2 inches, the back neck depth 1.5 inches, armhole depth 6.5 inches. Armhole circumference divided by 2 is equal to armhole depth. So which means the armhole circumference measurement is 13 inches divided by 2 gives me 6.5 inches. The chest circumference is 25. 25 divided by 4 excuse me, 25 divided by 4 gives me 6.25. Waist circumference 24 inches. 24 divided by 4 gives me 6 inches. Hip circumference measurement 26 inches. 26 divided by 4 gives me 6.5 inches. The back waist length is 10.5 inches. The hip level 5 inches. The shirt length is 20 inches. As I said earlier, this measurement is for a 6-year-old boy. So if you are drafting for other age range, I have a standard body measurement chart from age 1 to 16, which have been linked up in the description box under this video. So once you download this chart, you will know the measurement to use for any age range you are drafting for. So this pattern is for the back panel, and I have all my vertical measurements inserted on the pattern paper already. So this is the center of the back. This is the border line. The edge of the paper is the border line. This line is the back starting point. The back starting point is different from border line when it comes to a basic bodice block for a male figure. So this is the border line. This is the back starting point. And from the border line to the back starting point, I have 2.5 inches. So this measurement is standard. So 2.5 inches. We use 4 inches for adults. So, but for kids, 2.5 inches is okay. But for age range below 5 years, you can use 2 inches. So after the back starting point, I have the chest level, I have the waist level, the hip level, the shirt length, and the hem line. So I use 2 inches for the hem line. The first step is to insert the back measurement. The back measurement I'm using for this 6-year-old boy is 14 inches. So 14 inches divided by 2, I have 7 inches. So from the center back of the pattern, I will be measuring 7 inches on the border line, not on the starting point. Okay, so I'll come to the chest level and insert the same 7 inches. Then I will connect the 2 points together in order to make a straight line. So this line is the armhole line. So the next step is to construct the neckline. The neck width measurement I'm using is 2 inches. And the depth is 1.25. So please, in any pattern you are drafting, it is necessary you learn how to read your measuring tape. So I have a full tutorial on how to read your measuring tape accurately for pattern drafting. How to read the small lines you have on your measuring tape, how to convert your fraction values to decimal. Also, when you divide your measurements, especially your circumference measurements on your calculator, how do you locate the values gotten on your measuring tape? These and more are what I explain into details in this video of how to read a measuring tape. So the link to the video is available in the description box under this video. So now I will continue in constructing the neckline. So the 2 points have been connected together. Then on this line, I will make sure I have same 2 inches. So the 2 inches is the neck width. So that is the neck width I'm using. Okay, then I will pick this up and construct the neckline. So the neckline has been constructed. The next step is to construct the shoulder line. Just because the shoulder line is not on a straight line, either for adults or kids, our straight line is not on a straight line. So we have to achieve the slopey effect we have on our shoulder line. So that is why I'll come to the armhole line and I will come down by 3/4 because it is a kid. So because this pattern is for a kid, I'm coming down by 0.75. So 0.75 is the same thing as 3/4, and I'll be connecting this point to the neck width point. Okay, so here I have the shoulder line. So this is the shoulder line. So the next step is to construct the armhole. So in constructing the armhole, I will be taking the measurement I have from the back starting point. So please, I have to mention this. When I was measuring the vertical measurement, I started taking the measurement on the back starting points, not on the border line. So this is the starting point for the back. That was why I labeled this as the back starting point. So this is the border line. When we get to the front pattern, I will explain into details why I have border line and starting point on the back pattern, and also why I started the drafting from the back panel, why I did not start from the front panel. I will explain when we get to the drafting of the front panel. So when I was inserting all the vertical measurements, I took the measurements from the back starting point all the way down to the hem line. So that is that. Now in constructing the armhole, I will be measuring from the back starting point as well, from the back starting point to the chest level. So whatever I have will be divided into 2, so which means I'm getting the midpoint. I have 6.5, so 6.5 divided by 2, I have 3.25. So with this I can locate 3.25 easily on my measuring tape. So from the midpoint, I'm extending that point inward towards the center back, not towards the side. Okay, and because this pattern is for kids, I will be coming in by 1/4 of an inch. So 1/4 is the same thing as 0.25. That is why you need to watch my video on how to read the measuring tape accurately, where you will know all this value in decimal and also in fraction. So 0.25 is the same thing as 1/4. So which is this point. So this is the 1/4 point. Then I'll come to the chest level and insert quarter of the chest circumference measurement. Quarter of the chest circumference measurement I'm working with is 6.25. So that is 6 inches and 1/4. 6 inches and 1/4. And you can see where the measurement falls. It falls before the armhole line. So which means I cannot construct my armhole with this measurement. So from this point, I will be extending the measurement forward. So I will be adding 0.75, that is 3/4 of an inch. So which falls here. So this is natural because of the shape of a male figure. They usually have a wider back than the chest. So when you divide the chest circumference into 4 and you divide the back measurement into 2, half of the back is usually bigger than quarter of the chest. So it is totally different from that of female figure. So when you take this measurement, insert the measurement on the chest level, you will have to add extra values in order to make it fall after the armhole line. So with the help of my armhole curve ruler, I'll be constructing the armhole like so. So when I was positioning my ruler, I put this point into consideration and not the border line. But with this, when I pick my construction from this point, it will align with the straight line I have from the border line. So can you see what I have? So I can actually blend it up with my straight ruler. Okay, the next step is to insert the remaining circumference measurement. So I will start with the waist level. I will be inserting quarter of the waist level. The quarter of the waist level I'm working with is 6 inches. Then on the hip level is 6.5 inches. Okay, so what I have on the hip level is what I will be inserting on the shirt length. So on the shirt length, I will be inserting the same 6.5 inches. So connection from the hip level to the shirt length is with a straight ruler. So I'll be connecting the 2 points using a straight ruler. Okay, then connection from the waist to hip requires a slight curve. So I'll be making use this side of my very firm curve ruler in order to achieve a slight curve for the side. So just a slight curve. Okay, can you see what I have? Then connection from the chest point to the waist point requires this side of my very firm curve. The curve is facing towards the center back. So can you see what I have? So with this, the shape of the shirt is not going to be a straight line like a traditional one. This is going to be a modern shirt pattern. As you can see, the back pattern is ready and I'll be drafting the front pattern. So I'll be drafting the front. I will not cut the back until after drafting the front panel. So I'll be placing my piece of pattern paper on the back panel like so. So I will make sure the edges align properly. So as I said, this is the starting point for the back. So whatever I have from this starting point for the back and the borderline, which is the edge of the paper, will be divided into two. So which means I'm getting the midpoint. Please not from the shoulder line. From this point to the edge of the paper, I have 2.5 inches. So half of that is 1.25. So that's 1 inches and 1/4. Okay. So 1 inches and 1/4. And I'll make it a straight line. And I will label this point as the front starting point. So the line I have at the middle of the back starting point and the border line is going to be a border which the front and the back panel will be sharing. So this is going to be the shoulder line at the end of the day after constructing the shirt. So I'll be placing the front panel. So this is the paper I'm using as a front panel. I'll be placing the edge to fall on the back starting point like so. And I'll make sure the edges are aligned properly. Okay, the edges are aligned like so. Then I will mark the armhole line. So this is the armhole line. I'm marking the armhole line. Then I will mark the shirt length and the hem allowance. So which is here. And this is the hem allowance. Okay. After marking these points, then I can transfer my remaining lines using my tracing wheel. So which means I'll be placing my front panel underneath the back panel. So now I have my front pattern underneath the back pattern, so I can transfer all my vertical lines. So here is my front pattern. I've labeled all my vertical lines. As you can see, this is the border line, the same border line I have on the back panel. This is the back starting point, and I label this as the front starting point. So this is the chest level, the waist level, the hip level, the shirt length, and the hem allowance line, as you can see. So I have the same measurements on the front and the back panels. So as I was explaining when I was drafting the back panel, that I'll be coming back to explain better why I left this 2.5 inches upward before the back starting point. This is because the way men were created, they have a lot of muscle on their body, either male, either adult or kid. So we have to apply the same method. So in adding this extra 2 inches, this is to move the center joining of the shoulder away from the middle of the shoulder point. So the same method has to be applied on kids wear as well, in moving the shoulder joining away from the center of the shoulder. So that is why the back pattern has to be longer than the front pattern. So again, the back pattern is longer than the front pattern. So with this, I have extra 2 inches and I have exact measurements on this. So on the front panel of my front pattern, I'll be trimming this off. I don't need it. Okay, so I'll come to the hem line and I'll make sure the hem allowance line on the back panel and the front panel aligns like so. And I will secure the two pieces together with my tape. then I can actually extend this upward. So now you can see my front pattern falls on the starting point of the back pattern. So this is what I have now. So this is just to secure the shoulder seam line. That is all. There is no big deal there. It's just securing the shoulder seam line so that it will not rip off when moving the arm up and down. So don't say because they are still a kid you are not applying this method. A male must be treated like a male. So when you are making their outfit, it has to be constructed like that of an adult as well. So the only two things I need to do on the front panel is to construct the neckline and the armhole. Please note this, the front armhole is usually deeper than the back armhole, and also the front neckline is usually deeper than the back neckline. So that is why I'm drafting these two separately. I will be constructing the neckline by inserting the neck width measurement which I used for the back. So this has to be the same, 2 inches. I use 2 inches for the neck width on the back panel. I'm using the same 2 inches on the front panel. So this is the front panel. Okay, so for the front panel, I'll be making use of 2 inches for the neck depth as well. Neck depth is taken from the starting point downward. It's like a vertical line, like so. So Y width is horizontal. Can you see? So that's 2 inches by 2 inches. So on the neck depth line, I'm inserting the same 2 inches as that of the neck width in order to get a perfect square. Okay, so after which I will get the point of this angle. So I'm getting the midpoint of that angle. So I have the shape on my ruler, so I can position it on the shape, and with ease I will get the midpoint without stressing myself. So this is the midpoint, and I'll be extending it outward. So on this line, I'm coming in by 0.75. This is because it is a kid pattern. If it is for adults, I use half of an inch. So the lower the value, the deeper the neckline. So if you don't want the neckline to be as deep as this, you reduce it. So if you are drafting for age range lesser than 6 years, you can make it 1 inch. So the higher the value, the narrower the neckline. The lower the value, the deeper the neckline. So that is just the rule. So I'll be making use of 0.75. So which is this point. And here I'm coming in by half of an inch. And I'll be connecting the 2 points together. So the neckline is ready, as you can see. Then I will create the shoulder line. So I have the armhole line drawn out. So on this line, I'm coming down by the exact value I used on the back, which is 0.75. Okay, then I will construct the shoulder line. So I'm connecting from 0.75 point to the neck width point. Okay, the next is to construct the armhole. So whatever I have left here, So what I have left here is 5.75, and I will be getting the midpoint like so. So this is the midpoint. I'll be extending the point inward towards the center front and not outward. So then on the line, I will measure half of an inch inward. So can you see, this is why the front armhole is deeper than the back armhole. When I was drafting the back armhole, I came in by 1/4 of an inch. But when I'm drafting the front now, I came in by 1/2 of an inch. Then I will insert whatever value I have on the back, on the chest level, I'm inserting the same value on the front panel as well. This is the point. On the chest level, I measured what I have there and I inserted it on the front panel. Now I'll be constructing the front armhole. Connection is going to be from these midpoints. Don't forget, I measured out the midpoint in between the back starting point and the borderline. I got the midpoint, which is here. So I will be connecting the armhole. I'll be constructing the armhole, putting this point in mind, because this is going to be part of the front panel after constructing the shirt. So that I don't have a disjointed shape for my armhole, I have to put this in mind. So I will make sure I position my ruler in such a way my armhole connects with the straight line, like so. So can you see, I picked it from the straight line, so it's easily connected. So with this I can construct my armhole. And I will blend it up with my straight ruler. Okay, so this is the front armhole. So now the pattern is ready. As you can see, it's very simple, easy to understand. So the front panel and the back panel, I'm not constructing the side because I'll be cutting the two patterns together. So I'll place the front panel underneath the back panel, staple it together and cut the two at the same time so that I have a perfect shape for both front and back panels. Now I've stapled the front and the back panels together, as you can see by the side, so I can cut the side. So I'll be cutting the armhole. I will start from the borderline and stop on the back starting point because the two armholes are not the same. Or preferably, let me cut all through the back armhole. Then I will trim off the front armhole. When I was cutting, I actually wanted to stop on the hip level, not on the shirt length. So I'm stopping on the hip level. That was why I taped the cut part back. So on the hip level, I'll be cutting out like so. So from what I have left here, I will be measuring out what I will be using in creating the vent on both sides of men's shirt. So, and because this is a kid, I will not use more than 2 inches. I can use lesser than 2 inches, but I will not use more than 2 inches. So this is a 2 inches point. Okay, so I'm cutting the excess I have on the hem line. Then I will fold in my hem allowance on the shirt length. So this is to avoid shortage when hemming the down part. So I'm folding this inward so that I will not have a shortage when hemming the lower part. Then I can cut through like so. Okay, so the pattern is ready, and I will separate the front panel from the back panel before cutting off the neck. I've separated the back and the front panels, as you can see. So this is the back panel and this is the front panel. So with this, I'll be cutting the neckline and the remaining parts of the pattern separately. So I'm cutting the neckline for the back and also the shoulder line. Okay, so the back is ready, and I'll come to the front panel. I'm cutting the shoulder line. Then I'll cut the remaining parts of the armhole. So as you can see the difference between the front and the back armhole now. The front armhole is deeper than the back armhole. So this will allow the shirt to rest well on the wearer, and it will ease the armpit area at the front. And also I'm cutting the neckline. So we are done. So this is the front panel and this is the back panel. So this is a basic bodice block for a 6-year-old child, a male child. So this is what I have. You can see the shape really come out well. So this is the neckline, the chest level, the waist. So when I'm ready to construct this, I will make sure all these points are aligned. So this is what I was explaining the other time. So once it aligns like so, then I'll fold this over to overlap the front. So can you see? So it will overlap. It will overlap like so. Can you see what I have? So this is meant to be on the shoulder if it is for a girl, but because it is a boy, we've moved this point away from the shoulder point. So this folded part is what will fall on the shoulder point. So that is the reason for making the back pattern longer than the front pattern, just to move this point away from the shoulder point. And that's all. So this is the neckline. You can see the neckline meet and the shape came out well. Thanks so much for watching this video to the end. If you find this video helpful in one way or the other, consider subscribing to my channel so that you will get regular notifications from me whenever I upload related content. Till we meet again in my next video, always do remember, there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs.